Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about something that's a bit more serious, not our usual lighthearted, funny stuff. Not our usual, sad but hilariously ridiculous stuff on the internet. Something to do with crimes against children and predatory behavior. And no, we're not going to be discussing the movie Cuties. Somebody suggested a couple of weeks ago that I talk about that movie, and I would, but first of all, I don't think I can get through the movie without throwing up a good few times, and second of all, I really don't want that in my watch history. I share a Netflix account with my family, and I just don't, no. I'd rather not have the FBI knock down my door right away. But if you are sensitive to things about crimes against children or predatory behavior, then here's your warning to now click off the video. Because today we will be discussing Eugenia Cooney and the predator problem she has on her Discord. Now, her Discord has been shut down, but it's unclear whether she shut it down herself or Discord shut it down after all these allegations came out. But we aren't going to be talking about that because I honestly don't know if it was her or Discord. I hope it was her, but I don't know. Instead, we're going to be talking about the problem itself and how she handled it. Or failed to handle it, rather. It all started with this post on Reddit on r/Eugenia Cooney, where a woman described some of the experiences that she had on Discord and an inappropriate experience she had when she was 14 years old with a moderator who was 29 at the time. She gave descriptions about all the predators, and one of them was even openly talked about how he was a convicted felon and he couldn't do certain things because of that. And somebody managed to pull up his background history and find out that he was actually a sex offender. According to OP, these allegations came out, and Eugenia replied with this. Someone ended up digging up his records. They found out that he was a child molester, and they posted that to Discord. The Discord staff freaked out and tried to cover up what was happening. A group of people formed on Twitter and ended up pressuring Eugenia into banning the guy. She was not willing, and she knew. The mods were instructed probably to clean up any concerns of that in her stream. The guy was finally banned after 2 days of these allegations coming out. I don't see how Eugenia can be innocent in this. Eugenia knew and didn't want to demote him even then until the pressure was on. Then we all were supposed to ignore it the next day, and she never apologized for hiring a danger to protect her community. Mods are supposed to be the protectors. They're supposed to be seen like the golden crop of the audience. They're trusted around kids. I even messaged him expecting him to protect me before. And I and the others could have been put through trauma, and she never apologized for hiring a guy like that, even if she didn't know until then. I'm pretty sure it's ridiculous to suggest mods be background checked. We have to take into accountability if you hire someone like that near your kid audience. So according to this, she knew that her young audience was in danger. And she still waited 2 days after being pressured on Twitter to ban him. Why? Just why? I realized that she was probably trying to ignore and just, save face or whatever. But why? Why wouldn't she just come out and say that she didn't realize what was going on, that she's sorry, and that she will, do better in the future? Like how apologies usually work. Not only would that have fixed the problem, if she regulated her moderators better, but also people wouldn't have been as upset with her if she had done that in the first place. I just don't understand why it took her so long and why she just ignored it at first. Now for predator number 2. I can't write the details of this one without shaking or wanting to freeze up and start becoming vague. This man has ruined parts of myself I don't know I can ever get back. I feel so much was stolen from me when I was 14. This guy was buds with predator number 3 at one point as well, from Eugenia's audience. I was 14 years old and he was 29. At first we messaged because we were friends. He started to say weird things like, I feel so guilty because I kind of like you. At this point I was struggling badly with being sexualized for everything normal. I started to stream on You Now and be like Eugenia. That it didn't really faze me. I even comforted him, saying things like, oh, it's not your fault. And he then moved on to ask me sexually explicit questions about private stuff, like if I touched myself, or what does, private hair look like? Have you ever had a boyfriend? Weird stuff like that. I'd often refuse to answer, and he'd constantly push. He also started to send me hentai, even though I would ask him to stop. I said no so many times. He sent it to me even though he knew that I was in school. He wouldn't ever stop sending it, and it made me uncomfortable. At this point, I was both scared of him and being groomed by him. I mean, he can't be bad, right? He'd gift me subscriptions to Eugenia. I loved Eugenia. That was my main gift, was to be able to support one of my favorite content creators. There was other stuff, of course, like some games and stuff like that, but the sub-gift was what I wanted. Silly, isn't it? Anyway, he called me weird pet names like Nerd Hottie, and began talking about how he wanted me to be his wife and weird crap like that. I was never comfortable with this. He started to send me pictures of his genital and bodily fluid on paper towels, and I would start to threaten him with the police. And In return, he'd blackmail me and threaten me and use my emotions against me. He told me that his cat would die if I turned him in because his parents wouldn't feed them. He told me that he would have his life ruined and he would never get a job. He told me once he got out of jail with no car, he'd start walking. He'd walk in the rain and in the heat and the snow, and he'd walk until he got to my street name. He terrified me. I once tried to kill myself because I felt so trapped by this man. My friend got me away from him only after the guy sent pictures of me to my friend, and I still have major effects from that. I have CPTSD partly because of that. I'm scared and terrified still. I went in hiding for months. And not only that, OP allegedly reached out to Eugenia about the problem directly. She explained that one of the moderators was being incredibly inappropriate and making her very uncomfortable by asking her sexual questions and sending explicit photos to her and sending the hentai. And Eugenia responded basically by saying like, oh, that sucks, like sorry that happened, you're such a sweet person, if it gets bad, call the police. And first of all, if you have like an almost 30-year-old man like being incredibly inappropriate towards like, you know, like a middle schooler basically, and that's not already bad enough, he literally threatened to like come to her house and he was harassing her. Like I was like, is that not bad enough for you? Like, are you waiting for him to actually like do something? Like, what? It doesn't make sense to me that she wouldn't take this seriously. It's her Discord. These are the moderators, the people that she hired specifically to protect people. You would think that if you hired somebody to be in a position of authority and you found out that they were abusing their power, you would feel like, you know, accountability. You take accountability for that. You would feel responsible in a way for that. It's kind of your job to make sure that they're not, I don't know, sex offenders. At the very least. I understand that everyone makes mistakes and that a single mistake shouldn't ruin your life, but this one should. Someone committed heinous crimes against a child and you just let them like roam freely in your Discord as a moderator. Someone else is being inappropriate towards like a teenage girl and that's fine. Someone else is harassing and like basically threatening to stalk a teenage girl on like a moderator on your Discord and you're okay with that too. You're letting these people like have a platform on your Discord, which is mostly children. She should have done initial background checks, you know, on her moderator since they are in charge of the Discord. But since she didn't do that, she should have at least apologized and taken these accusations seriously. She could have at least done anything, basically. Anything but ignoring an underage girl's accusations of being sexually harassed by a moderator. Or waiting 2 days after being pressured enough on Twitter to finally ban a moderator who's a literal pedophile. It seems like she was just kind of saying like, ugh, fine. You know? Like after a while, she realized that they weren't going to let her ignore it anymore, so she had to do something about it. Pedo number 3 went after a young woman in her audience around the age of 18. Important note for this guy, he was also a Nazi. A sweet guy that was a Nazi, probably. He had a very hateful symbol in his Twitter display name. This guy blackmailed 2 people from her audience that were young women and tried to get them to change in front of him, or else. They had to fight for this guy to be banned for 2 months, and he was eventually arrested and went to jail for child pornography. Holy crap, okay. So they had a sex offender and a pedophilic Nazi as moderators. How the heck does that happen? I understand that when you're meeting somebody, you don't just assume that they're like a child molester or a Nazi. Because we like to think that those people are quite rare in society. I really hope they're rare in society. But they're not. We like to imagine that these people are just terrible legends that you hear about but you never actually see. You know they exist, but you don't want to see one out in the wild. Even if Eugenia assumed that these people were just normal, average people who liked her content, still, why wouldn't she take these accusations seriously? If people are coming to you and saying that they're being harassed or groomed on your account, and there are dangerous people who are acting as authority figures on your Discord, what reason would you have to not take them seriously and look into those accusations? And OP basically says that, like, whenever an accusation came up, Eugenia was like, oh, they're a nice guy, like, they wouldn't do that, or whatever. They might be nice to you, but that doesn't mean that they're not still a terrible person. Most abusers don't look like abusers. They can act normal in front of their people, and then be a monster behind closed doors. You still need to look at those accusations and take them seriously. That's your responsibility. There's also another guy who whispers Twitter messages people in chat about his penis. There has been minors and young ladies who have received these messages. Several people went to the mods to express concerns about this to them, but from the mods' mouths themselves, they can't ban him because Eugenia doesn't want him banned. He's a sweet guy. I bet he has I bet he lines her pockets with bits. She's actively ignoring her own mods who don't dare to speak for themselves against their savior Eugenia at this. This is predatory. There's a cycle of victims in Eugenia's audience, there's probably even more. And Eugenia doesn't even give a crap except to save her own reputation. When she does get rid of these people, eventually, she never takes accountability or does anything to stop it. She doesn't age restrict her content. In fact, in some ways, she targets kids even more. Don't we see the SpongeBob game at Eugenia? She knows there's 3 predators already, ignores concerns from previous victims, doesn't take leadership over her own Discord. This is not normal. Streamers and YouTubers at least try to keep it a safe place for kids. Some streamers age restrict content for basic swearing even. Is she responsible for the entire audience's actions? No. But when she's actively ignores and sweeps this up and doesn't care, and it's much of a problem than it is, she doesn't try to stop people like this. With how sexual and creepy her Discord is, for example, Discord mods offering advice to young women about how to get a thigh gap, when they say they want one, you have to think about how much bigger this is. They don't even know. And yes, that happened. A Discord mod told someone that they can lose weight to get a thigh gap because everyone can, and that they can DM them for tips. Often pro-ana coaches are predators, but that's sick alone regardless. I did hear about the thigh gap incident from a recent iNabber video. Apparently a moderator gave a 15-year-old advice on how to get a thigh gap, and I think the 15-year-old said that they were gonna starve themselves or something to get it. We all know that Eugenia has struggled with similar things that I'm not going to get into because that's obviously none of my business, and I'm not going to go talking about somebody else's personal mental health issues on my platform. That's a weird thing to do and kind of disrespectful. I'm not Onision, I don't do that. But a lot of young people did see her videos when she was severely underweight. I don't know if she still is, I don't watch her videos, but I did see a lot of young people, watching her videos when she was at that size and kind of glorifying her body and wanting it for themselves. I'm not saying it's your fault that other people feel bad about their body, but when she knew that she was unhealthy and young people were looking up to her and glorifying her and wanting to look like her, it gets dangerous. There are definitely pro-ana sites on the internet and dangerous things that encourage young people and, people of all ages, obviously, to go to drastic measures to lose weight. And it doesn't surprise me this is on her Discord either, because, a lot of the people that look up to Eugenia wanted to look like her, so it wouldn't surprise me if, a pro-ana predator, targeted young people there. This is just a mess, and I can't believe it took her this long to address it. It took her this amount of time to just care, basically. Also, do not show your genitals to people without their consent. Why do people, oftentimes men, but women can do it too, think that it's okay to just send pictures of themselves randomly? Do you think someone's gonna wake up to a random picture of your penis and just think, oh, what's your number? We should chat. No, that's gross. Stop it. Anyways, that's all we're gonna be talking about today. I hope you guys... No, you didn't enjoy this. There's no way you could have enjoyed this. I feel my past few videos have just been me just saying, ending the video with yeah, this sucked. I'm sorry. You definitely didn't have a good time here. I should just start my videos like that. Just be hey, welcome to hell. But anyways, for my next video, I wanted to do a Q&A. So if you guys could comment down below questions to ask me, I will gladly answer them in my next video. I thought that'd be a nice, relaxed video. I haven't done a chill Q&A with you guys yet, so I think that would be cool. So comment down below some questions. And I will see you guys next time. Stay safe, y'all, and stay off of Discord, maybe.